Let's go! Adrenaline! Adrenaline! Running through my veins! Good afternoon, I'm Robin Banks, and welcome back to the Formula X1X Championship. The British Heart Foundation provides funding for research on all kinds of heart disease, defects, and tech for the future, including mechanical hearts and transplants. It's a very close-to-home charity, so we support it all we can, and you can too. Just tap in bhf.org.uk on your web browser. You are helping to save someone's life. It's round 5, and we're in Austria on the mighty Red Bull circuit close to the city of Graz. Red Bull is one of those tracks where braking and getting good traction off the corner is very important indeed, as all of the fast sections lead into a very slow section, and usually on an incline or decline. It's a really tricky track to tame, and to top it all, we have had nothing but torrential rain all morning, and it's still raining now. The track is 2.7 miles in length, with the longest straight of half a mile, and a total of 10 corners. So we're at the halfway point in the championship. Last week's stunning win from Brian Messiah raised him to second place in the championship at Brands Hatch, but luckily Rico Mortis finished in second place and managed to maintain his 26-point lead. Carlos Puntarino laid off the booze on Saturday night and brought home a very solid third, but man of the race for me and Dave was Halen Manetti, who after an awful start and 2 crashes, still managed to bring it home in 4th place. I'll hand you over now to our ex-race driver and technical guru, Dave Unshaw, who has been out in his car this morning doing our lap focus. Dave is absolutely wringing wet and will need a pry bar to get his fingers off the steering wheel. How's it going, Dave? Many thanks, Robin, and I can tell you this is an absolute glitch fest. There is so much water on the track, it's really scary. So let's get on with the lap focus as we bang down the straight towards the Castrol Edge. It's down to 58 mile an hour in second gear for this right-hander, and you've got to be really careful here. You go too wide, you get a penalty. You go on too hard on the gas, you end up in the grass. Bombing up the straight towards the Rebus, up to 167 mile an hour 6th gear before being very, very easy on the brakes, and down into Rebus. It's a 33 mile an hour 1st gear right-hander, and then straight back on the gas, trying to control that wheel spin, and the car seems to snake a little bit because it's hitting the puddles. Very, very much a clench fest all round here, Robin. And then we go downhill and break down the hill into Rorsch from 165 mile an hour all the way down to 51 in 2nd gear, and then really easy on the gas. And this bit of track here seems to be some dry patches, a little bit of wet, and it kind of kicks you out a little bit into the left-hander of Pirelli. 86 mile an hour 3rd gear through here, little bit of a short shift and then back down to 3rd gear, 91 mile an hour through Worth, and then on the gas, very, very easy to spin up here and get off track. It's really hard to hold this car down towards Rindt at 159 mile an hour 6th gear, into Rindt 87 mile an hour 4th gear, and then down towards the Red Bull Mobile 67 mile an hour 3rd gear, and on the gas as quick as you can to get a good run up to the finish line, crossing the line at 164 mile an hour 6th gear. First stop for me when I get out this car is a shower. Take care, guys, have fun if you can. See you in heaven. Many thanks, Dave. So let's go down to the grid and take a look at our lineup today. On pole position, Rico Mortis. In 2nd place, Carlos Puntarino. In 3rd, Damon Puntarino. In 4th, Halen Manetti. In 5th, Brian Messiah. In 6th place, Alex Anders. And in 7th place, Archie Angelo. In 8th place, Simon Bouquet. And rounding out the grid in 9th, Lydia Champagne. Rico's blistering lap of 131 definitely secured pole position. Our weather's 19 degrees and a track temperature of 22. So here we are, folks, for round 5 of the British Heart Foundation Formula X1X Championship at Austria Red Bull Ring. Engines are a-revving. They're holding up a little bit longer than usual. Off we go. Rico gets a good start, so does Carlos Puntarino and Damon Puntarino. Looked like Halen Van Eddy had an awful start there. David Punterino tries to jump up the inside of Rico. Into Castrol Edge, pushing Rico way out wide. Can Rico get that position back? That wasn't a very great start. David Punterino is really up for this. Carlos Punterino's on the back of Rico Mortis, trying to get the slipstream up through them straight. Up they go towards Rebus. David Punterino slips in front of Rico, but can he get it stopped? Rico goes back on the inside, and Carlos Punterino gets a fantastic drive out of Rebus. Down the hill they go. Carlos, Rico and David all nearly side by side down towards the Rauch corner. Carlos is well in front now. Got a great start there. Can David Punterino get round? Brian Messiah trying to duck up the inside of Rico, but Alex Anders goes right around the outside. Hammering down towards Pirelli, a really tricky part of the track here. It goes slightly off camber and downhill. Can they get it stopped into Pirelli? We've got Carlos Punterino and David Punterino all kinds of out of shape. Into the Worth corner. Alex Anders holding a good line on the back of Rico. Brian Messiah in hot pursuit. David Punterino and Carlos and Rico pulling a little bit of a gap. Alex Anders into the Rindt corner. Down towards the Red Bull Mobile. Very tricky in the groove here. You can go very wide, end up on the grass, almost like what Rico did there. Rico desperate to try and get back onto the back of these pair. Hammering down the straight here, heading 164 mile an hour. Brian Messiah's all over the back of Alex Anders. Alex goes wide. Brian cuts up the inside. Can he get the move? Lovely move by Brian Messiah. Halen Van Eddy also. Halen Van Eddy slipping up the inside of Archie Angelo up the hill. Can he get it done before Rebus? Alex Anders tries to move, but misses his braking zone and goes way wide into Rebus. That allows Brian Messiah to get away. Halen Van Eddy's in front of Archie Angelo now and manages to maintain that position. Meanwhile, David Punterino's in front of Carlos Punterino. And Carlos is trying to fend off Rico Mortis, who's also trying to go up the inside out of Rauch. Can he get it down into Pirelli? Lovely move by Rico in such tricky conditions. Anybody who stays on track in this race is an absolute god, I tell you. It's absolutely crazy stuff. Everybody coming out of Worth. It's really hazardous here. You've got puddles everywhere, some slightly, patches with not much water in them. It's grip, slip all the way around this track. Absolutely incredible. David Punterino is pulling away with this. Very quick here in practice. I think David's hit it in that mist haze up the front in front of Rico. Carlos Punterino and Brian Messiah not letting the front two get away. I tell you what, Dave, this is incredible stuff here. I've been round here a few times in my car doing the lap focus and stuff, and I can tell you it is scary stuff here. You've got a little bit of traction control on and you're trying to hang on to this thing for dear life. It is absolutely brutal, I tell you. Archie Angelo trying to fire himself around his teammate. Alex gives him a little bit of a bump, but Archie's desperately trying to get to the front. He's trying to hang on to the back of Halen Van Eddy. Alex Anders is being knocked back a little bit here. Lydia Champagne in 8th place and Simon Bouquet at the back of the pack. Archie feathering that brake around the Rebus corner. Losing a bit of grip there, Dave. It's so hard coming out of there. You're sort of trying to feather the brakes off, but also trying to pick up the drive at the same time. It is really tricky. And going down towards Pirelli, there's some puddles there, and the car's fighting with you all the way through there. Carlos Punterino not letting Rico get away. All the while, David Punterino's pulling out a gap. Brian Messiah looks like he's catching these up, Dave. I know Brian's got a good pace here. He'll be on the back of Rico and Carlos in no time, I tell you. He is really good in the wet. You remember the last time we were here in the wet when we did the Ferrari Campionato and the 458 Ferraris around here. Carlos Punterino's really getting a good drive out of there. He's going to be on the back of Rico in a minute if he's not careful. Yeah, I remember that, Robin. That was absolutely awful stuff. I tell you, we picked the worst car in the world to do, and ended up with a wet race at Red Bull. That was real nail-biting stuff. Brian Messiah's right on the back of Carlos Punterino now, trying to get a drive down through the straight down towards Rauch. Can he get it done? Really means this, Brian does. He slips around Carlos, making it look easy. Down into Rog. Can he get up to Rico? He's got a little bit wide though. Carlos looks like he hit the grass there. Carlos is not letting him get away though. You'll see what we mean about the cars losing traction as they come down through here, people. It really is, fingernail biting stuff. I'll bet you that Luigi, Carlos's mechanic's biting his toenails. I can tell you, he's quite good, quite flexible. I do hear that, Dave. I also heard on the grapevine that Carlos and Luigi have been talking to record companies. Yeah, that is the word. That is the word. They, I don't think they'll be leaving the chat. Hello, we've got a replay. What's happened here then? Alexander's coming out of Worth. Easy done there. You're trying to get a good exit and you plant that pedal and that's what happens, unfortunately. But yeah, I heard that Carlos and Luigi have been talking to record companies, but I'm not sure that they're not signed already. But I know the championship song they did was a complete flop, so maybe they're getting the boot. That could explain why Carlos is still running in the championship. Yeah, that would make sense, I would think. Paddy Fitzwendy was telling me that at their first gig, they managed to literally clear the stadium in about 5 seconds flat. People were trampled and all sorts, holding onto their ears and screaming, make it stop. I think I might have saw something about that on the news. I remember hearing about a stadium where people were not trampled to death, but definitely in trying to get out in haste. Back to the race, folks. Brian Messiah's all over the back of Rico Mortis now, on board with Brian Messiah. Not forgetting this guy is a double champion. Into Worth he goes, trying to get on the back of Rico, trying desperately to find some grip. Rico looks like he's quite smooth here though, Dave. I have noticed that Rico set that blistering lap, but he's not showing his pace. You know, at the minute, he may be taking it easy, I'm not sure. Just trying to, let the race settle and get round for the first few laps without making having a caper. I don't think Brian's thinking the same thing. He's thinking, let's get past this guy and get a bit of a spurt on. Into Castrol Edge they go. Brian Messiah gets a very good drive out of here. Rico touches a little bit of grass there. That may impede his exit up the straight. Brian's almost up beside Rico now, slips around Rico Mortis. What a lovely move. That was a brilliant stuff by Brian Messiah. Into Rebus they go. Rico's still hanging on to the back of him, but Brian's good out of here. Looks like he's also, definitely Brian had a really good exit out of there, Dave. Difficult to do, but our double champion just showed how it's done, that's for sure. David Punterino must be looking at that timing board and thinking they're almost on me now, because Brian ain't that far away. And Damon looks like he's sliding around a bit there, Dave. He does seem to be, planting that thing a bit, and obviously when you do that, you have to try and control it and stop the thing from kicking itself off the track. So how exactly does it feel, Dave, on this wet track, having a, Formula One car in your grip? To be honest, the only way I can describe it is it's like driving on glass. It really is like driving on glass, and, every minute, you hear that tear-off start beeping, and, the tear-off system, and you think to yourself, oh my God, here we go, I've only got a couple left. I did hear they were in development, about extending the amount of tear-off underpants that's in the cassette. So they, at least get 5 out of it, because some of these tracks are getting a bit tricky now. They are, yeah, I did hear that. I also heard on the grapevine that they're, that new kind of helmet gear that they've been developing is almost ready for a test run. As we watch Simone Bouquet trying to dive up the inside of Lydia Champagne, but she's having none of it. Simone yields and lets her go. I think that was an accident waiting to happen there. Bouquet will continue his... looks like Carlos Pontorino is now challenging Rico Mortis down the hill towards Rog. Can Rico get it stopped? He does. Manages to fend off Carlos at the moment, but Carlos is definitely, on a charge here. You can hardly see what's going on. That's what I mean, folks, about losing that grip through that corner down towards Pirelli. It's really hard there. The car's trying to bite you the whole time. Carlos will be running a little bit of traction control, but how much depends on the driver. I know a lot of the drivers are probably on about 2, but Carlos may be trying a slightly lower setting, which is, a bit sketchy. Looks like Alexander's is catching up to the back of the pack. He's got Simon Bouquet and Lydia Champagne in front now. Can he regain some composure and get the position back as Simon Bouquet dives up the inside of Lydia Champagne down towards red? Can he get it stopped going into red? Lovely move by Simon Bouquet. Well executed that one, Dave. He had a good drive out of Worth. You know, if you get that and the car in front slips up a bit, hello, what's happened here? Archie Angelo's gone off track. That's at the bottom of Rauch. Must have gone a little bit hot, I should think, sliding. It's very easy to lose control there. Damon and Rico come past. Unfortunate for Arch. Had a bad round at Brands as well. Feel for the guy. You know I'm a fan. Ryan Messiah, however, is having a great race. He's almost on the back of David Punterino now. David knows he's coming. David will be watching that timer on his screen. Ryan's right on him now into Rauch. Can David go? David's sliding around trying to exit that corner. Really hard here. Keep saying that, but it really is, folks. Down towards Pirelli they go. Ryan is all over the back of David Punterino. The pressure he must be feeling, Dave, must be absolutely intense, coupled with, obviously sliding around like Torville and Dean. Trying to keep focus here. He's going to be top of the list, I tell you. He's probably more, focused on just keeping it smooth and, conserving tyres and keeping his pace than he is of what's going on behind him. If Brian gets past, he gets past, and that's it. I suppose you can't really slick the car around and defend your line very well here. It's just too slippery for that. Exactly that. Once you're committed, that's it. You're committed here. There ain't no second chances. You sling this into a corner. You better be in control of it when it comes out, because otherwise you're going to go straight off track, and that's almost, to catch up again. Although Alexander's is doing very well catching up, but it's very difficult here to get that to get it all back as Lydia Champagne comes out of Red Bull Mobile sideways. Carlos Punterino shoots up the inside of Rico Mortis, who's got a bit wide going up into Remus. We have a drag race all the way down the hill towards Rauch. Carlos gets a lovely drive out of there and pulls a nice little gap on Rico. All the while, Brian Messiah's all over the back of David Punterino still. He's probably just following him, hoping he would make a mistake. Great move by Carlos Punterino.
Ladies and gentlemen, please refrain from riding the bull statue in the middle of the circuit. It is not a climbing frame and could lead to a horrific accident. Thank you.
I saw them this morning and they were swinging off that thing like this. You wouldn't believe it. It's like a load of monkeys up there. That statue always attracts a lot of unwanted guests, Dave. Someone's going to get bloody killed, I should think. Brian Messiah looks like he's sliding up a move on David Punterino. Hoping for a mistake, praying for a mistake so he can get through and take that win, so he can shorten the gap between him and Rico on points in the championship. It's Brian's second place at the moment. He's right on the back of Damon, bagging that curb out of the Castrol corner, firing up the hill towards Remus. David's very good, got a very good drive out of there, Dave. He did fly out of that corner, I must admit, but in that big sausage on the right-hand side there could really cost you if you get it wrong. Can Brian get that incredible drive out of the corner? Doesn't look like it. David Punterino's also very good out of Remus. Down the hill, Carlos Punterino chasing. Rico is losing a bit of ground here, Dave. Looks to me like Rico's pace has dropped off a little bit. Whether he's, still saving his tyres, I don't know, but he definitely seems to have backed off. The front four have definitely pulled away from the rest of the pack, though, Dave. It's quite a gap between them and Halen Van Eddy. Halen's quietly going about his business in 5th place. He could get a good result here, definitely top 5. Boys predict that for Halen. He's a very fast driver. See how good he is in the wet on these cars, though. That'll be definitely a real test. David Punterino coming out of the Worth corner. Brian Messiah gets a fantastic drive. Can he get him down into Rauch? Down the hill. It's a really tricky corner, this one, Dave. I don't think there's a corner on this track that isn't tricky, to be honest with you. You know, everything's either uphill, downhill, in, out, left, right, you name it. It's got everything here. There really is not much, you know, let up or breathing space at all, I would think. No, there isn't nothing as we're on board with Carlos Puntarino into the Castrol corner. He's definitely catching up with Brian and Damon now. Brian made a little mistake there, which cost him a little bit. That's enabled Carlos to get in his slipstream, and he's going to, well, he's too far away to line up and move into Remus, but he'll definitely get on the back of Brian now. Look at that. Absolutely brilliant. Damon goes a little bit wide there. Brian can get it. Brian gets a good drive out of here. You know, Carlos is doing all he can to hang on to this beast up over the top of that hill because it's very slippery up through there. He is doing a great job of holding on to this car, Dave. I tell you, he seems fairly controlled. Brian looks like he's not a little bit far away, but Carlos catches the grass a bit there and skids a little bit. That may allow Rico to get up to the back of him again. I definitely think that entry and exit would have cost Carlos a little bit. It wouldn't surprise me now if Rico don't, you know, try and slip past. He could be right on the back of him. We can't see it at the moment, but we will in a minute. That looks like Archie Angelo's had an accident again. Really feel for Archie. Had a bad couple of rounds. Hopefully when we go to the Nürburgring, he'll, you know, pick himself up and get going again. I saw David Puntarino have a massive slide then, Dave, coming out of Worth. And you're right, Rico's right on the back of Carlos Puntarino again. I'll tell you, the front two ain't getting away. These two are, you know, they're right there, lap 11, and they're still all grouped up. You know, this is fantastic. You know, Rico's trying to move up the inside of Carlos Puntarino. Thinks better of it, probably. Yeah, that could have ended in disaster there. It's very easy. Rico goes a little bit wide too. That would have cost him a little bit, Dave. Yeah, Carlos has pulled a bit of a gap now. It's easy done, you know. You see that gap, and you forget you're driving in really bad conditions, and you know you want to go for it. You've got to kind of, like, you know, pull yourself back together and you know, have a bit of restraint. Yeah, I see where you're coming from, Dave. Rico back to fourth place, losing a little bit of grip there and touching the grass. That won't help at all. There, these front three are pulling away from Rico now. Carlos is almost on the back of Brian Messiah. I know Carlos will be hoping to take his first win. Carlos will grab that with both hands if he can. It's, you know, anything could go wrong here. We're at, what, lap 12 now, coming into lap 13 shortly. You know, there's a long way to go. There's, you know, a hell of a lot of pressure on these guys today. Carlos Puntarino lost it coming out of Worth then. Let's put Rico right back on him now. I see exactly what you mean, Dave. You know, you might be pulling a gap, but it just takes one little slip up like that, and you're kind of back in the fight with somebody behind you trying to push past. That's all it takes. That really is all it takes. Just a little bit of extra throttle that you know, and sometimes it takes you by surprise as well. Rico is definitely back on Carlos Puntarino. Let's have a look at what's happening here then. Alexander's skidding out. Archie Angelo slams into the back of him. I'm not sure whether Archie was giving him a bit of a push then, but yeah, both cars could have been totaled then. We haven't seen this guy for a while. Halen Benetti quietly going about his business in 5th place. It's a very lonely 5th as well, Dave. Yeah, Halen's running in 5th, obviously. You know, he's doing a good job here. You know, if he can bring this home in 5th place, that would be fantastic. And he has got a gap both in front and behind. I think his nearest rival is Simon Bouquet, who's quite a way back. Lydia Champagne, giving it all she's got in the wet. Trying to do all she can to bring this home. She'll be glad for a bit of sunshine. I think next time out's the Nürburgring GP, Dave, is that correct? Yeah, that's right. It's Nürburgring GP next, and as Lydia goes a little bit wide. Lydia doing very well though, Dave. She's, you know, she's still in the race. Poor old Archie Angelo's having an absolute awful time. Blue flags are waving, someone's coming. Simon Bouquet in 6th place. Great result for Simon if he can bring this home. Some good points for the team championship, this will be. We've also lost Greg Rocket now, folks. Greg has retired from the championship, which is a shame. He apparently never recovered from that injury that he sustained at Brands Hatch with the zipper incident. So Greg has retired from the championship. Yeah, that was bad, that was. He's obviously very uncomfortable and can't drive, so that's the way it goes. Brian Messiah hounding the back of David Punterino. He's not let David take a breath here. Down towards Roche. Can David get it stopped? Carlos Punterino sliding around a bit. Brian Messiah tries to look up the inside, but there's no way through. David shuts the door. Also, Rico is still hounding Carlos Punterino. He's not letting Carlos away. You can hear those tyres spinning up. Although they're on wets, it's really hard to control these cars still. It still slides around, and you trying to get heat into those tyres is really difficult when the track's cold and there's water, pulling the tyres down as well. It must be absolute total clench fest, Dave, as Brian Messiah goes in the pits. Rico Mortis, Carlos Punterino and David Punterino go out for another lap. Will this be a decider now? Rico looks like he's trying to get up the inside of Carlos Punterino down into the Castrol Mobile. Can he make it work? He backs off. That's the second time Rico's backed off there, Dave. But Rico is right on the back of Carlos. Getting a great drive up the hill towards Rebus. Can Rico get the move done? He slips around Carlos Punterino, but can he hold it on the brakes into Rebus? Carlos looks up the inside, but Rico shuts the door. Can he get that drive out to maintain that position? What a great move by Rico Mortis that was, Dave. I'd imagine Rico was planning that from a long way back. He knew if he could get a drive off that corner, that's the way to go up through there. He could see Carlos is sliding around a little bit in front of him. So we're at the halfway point in the race, folks. So let's go down to pit lane and have a quick word with our ex-alcoholic and Saturday night guru, Paddy Fitzwendy. How's it going, Paddy?
Many thanks, Robin. I'm down here in pit lane talking to Stinky Feet. Excuse me, but my name is Pete Shinky. I'm so sorry, but it looks like Stinky Feet on my sheet. Gotta take a trip to Specsavers, I think. Anyway, Pete here is head of design team that's working on the new system that tackles runny noses in our drivers' crash helmets, aka snot dribble. How is the development going so far? Well, this really is a challenging piece of kit, but we are basically mounting a box of tissues onto the side of the crash helmet, and there is two small robot arms. One lifts the visor while the other grabs a tissue and wipes the nose of the driver, all in a split second. What happens to the soggy tissue after the process? Well, the system, which is known as anti-bogey, fires the tissue through a small hole in the window, just like when you're on the motorway, but by machine instead of a pillock. So when will this be ready and available? We are putting together a prototype as we speak and hope to have a working model ready to test by round 6. Sounds incredible. Have you had any interest from the teams or elsewhere? Oh yes, all the teams here have signed up to anti-bogey for when it's available, and many main championships have expressed their interest, including F1 and MotoGP. Sounds like a very exciting development time, Robin. Almost as groundbreaking as tear-off underpants. Back to you.
Many thanks, Paddy. And yes, those guys at Hansoft's lab don't half put together some incredible pieces of equipment. As Rico Mortis dives up the inside of David Punterino into the Rodge corner. David goes a little bit wide. I'm not sure if there's any contact there. What's happening here then? Looks like Rico's slowed down. Rico thinks he may well have caused that, so he's letting David Punterino past. He is, however, not letting Brian Messiah past. That could have cost him dearly there. That would have put Rico back in 5th place. Simon's in the lead at the minute. He's currently running in 1st place, but he's yet to pit. So that will put Simon probably back where he was to start with. David Punterino has been given a second chance by Rico Mortis, who's right up David now. Looks like they made a little bit of contact there as well, down into red. Into the Red Bull Mobile they go. Rico goes way wide. That really upset Rico's entry and exit in for those two turns, Dave. Not sure what happened there, but that looked like either Rico missed his braking marker or Damon slammed on a bit too harsh. But that's kind of put Rico off a little bit, and now he's got Brian Messiah all over the back of him again. Damon's on fresh tyres now, so he'll be trying to pull away again. Brian Messiah really is in the hunt for Rico Mortis. Makes a move up the inside into the Rebus corner. Brian makes it stick. No, he doesn't. Rico outbreaks him, but they're side by side now, coming out of the corner, down, up over the crest and down the hill. It's a drag race all the way down to Roch. Looks like Brian Messiah got through. He gets a great drive out of there, Dave. The difference in exit out of that corner was incredible there. Brian really got that nailed, and Rico was just kind of spinning up. Yeah, Brian certainly got that nailed. Carlos Puntarino, however, is now in second place. So if Simon Bouquet pits now, that'll put Carlos in the lead. Looks like Carlos may well have used his race strategies and put himself in a good position here, Dave. Carlos is in a great position now. These lot are banging each other up, trying to clutch him, and yeah, Simon's got in the pits now, so that's Carlos Puntarino in first place. He very well could pull away now if these lot keep fighting, but they ain't going to do anything else, Dave, that's for sure. Down into the Red Bull Mobile. Rico Mortis will try desperately to get on the back of Carlos Puntarino. Brian Messiah down towards the Castrol Edge corner. Rico thinks about it, but thinks better of it by the look of it. Into that right hand, narrowly missing that curve. Both of them go a little bit wide. Rico desperately trying to get that position back. Brian's got a good drive out of here, though. He is taking off. It looks like he's going for the land speed record. You love that, don't you? You love that. It really does. It really does look like it here, though. It looks more like they're coming back into the atmosphere here, Dave. It's brilliant. Visibility is definitely reduced. There's no doubt about that. Rico Mortis is probably too far away for a lunge into Roch, which could also end in disaster. Brian goes wide onto the gravel. That's let Rico back through. That's going to give Rico a little bit of breathing space and Brian Messiah a little bit more hard work to do. That's very unfortunate. So easy to do that there. It really is, very slippery into that corner, and you're trying to stop those wheels skidding. Also, trying to get maximum braking effect without sliding. Really hard to do. Lydia Champagne. Haven't seen Lydia for a little while. Quietly going about her business. In 8th place. Archie Angelo retired a while ago. There's only 8 cars on track now. Lydia doing all she can to bring this home. She's very, very brave. I'll tell you what, if she had a pair of the, proverbial, they would be made of steel, I can tell you. She's really got some guts, is this girl. She has. I know she had a few rounds out at the start due to illness, but she's really come back fighting. She is definitely sticking this out, and we're very proud of Lydia, doing a great job. She has continued where others just gave up. I take my hats off to her. She's still here, banging it out, week in, week out. Alexander's into 7th place. Trying to make something out of this round. Teammates retired, so it's all down to Alex to collect some points for the team now. It is a shame Archie quit. He would have, if he'd carried on with with going round, he would have at least brought some good points in for the team championship. It's a shame, but if you've had enough, you've had enough, and that's all there is to it. You've got to admit, Dave, this really is, it's really hard to maintain a race if you keep sliding off and ending up in the gravel trap. Yeah, it is. You have to adapt your driving to the conditions around here. Simon Bouquet goes off track and clouts the barrier. Saw the sparks flying there, and I'll tell you what, he's lucky that the tear-off underpants that went out weren't on fire, I can tell you, with the gas that would have come out at the same time, because that was a real scary moment, that was. Is that like a fire hazard then, Dave? Well, I know they did a bit of testing on this very thing, because sometimes, when you get scared and you make a mess, you blast it out sometimes, and, that's obviously, pressure with, from gas, and, that can ignite. I know some of them have burnt their, they've got no hair on the, like at the back anymore. So you're telling me that they actually lose hair if any sparks happen when the tear-offs eject. Well, yeah, it's a lot of that's flammable, and it's you've got to watch it, They will have to develop some kind of fire extinguisher that also squirts at the same time as the tear-offs rip, and that might help. Oh, you mean a preventative cure? Yes, that makes sense. I'll tell you what, mate, you might want to patent that. They could probably call it anti-shark, Dave. What's funny about that? I think that's a great name. We've got anti-bogey now, so, we can have anti-shark. Nothing wrong with that. Heads off, Furburger, if you're listening, we need a new system developed to put out a potential fire hazard when the tear-off underpants eject. Get that sorted. Many thanks, hands off. He would have definitely have heard that because he watches all these races and he does get ideas as he's going along. You might be onto a winner there, Robin. Carlos Punterino in first place. Can he bring it home for his team? Doing an absolute phenomenal job is Carlos Punterino. Very well executed round so far. As long as he doesn't have any off-track excursions, he will be definitely in the running for this. Brian Messiah's in fourth place. All Rico's got to do at the moment is stay in front of Brian, who's gone a bit wide into Remus. That's easy done. All Rico's got to do is try and stay in front of Brian, and then if Carlos wins this, he will, I think the points gap might be something similar to as it is now. But if Brian overtakes Rico, then he will definitely start to close the gap again, Dave. He will, and Brian will be thinking exactly that. He'll be thinking, I'm gonna, that's his target now. Rico's got a massive target on his back, and all these guys are, out to trip him up. What will Rico be thinking now then, Dave? Rico will be thinking, he'll probably be thinking, third place at the minute is better than last, and he'll just be thinking points. I would imagine he's gone into this round. I haven't spoke to him, but I'd imagine he's gone into this round, and he really is sort of thinking, it could all go horribly wrong here. Just keep it smooth and bring it home in whatever position you are, whatever position you get, and just, capitalise on any points that you can get, and then try and make any losses up in the next few rounds. That would make sense, Dave. It's no point in pushing if it's going to ruin your championship. You just as well, you put your thinking head on and think to yourself, yes, you're dead right. I think you're dead right. That's exactly what Rico will be thinking. He's closing a little bit on Damon Punterino now, but, whether he's pushing too hard or maybe Damon's tyres are going off, it remains to be seen. On board with the very fellow, you can see how difficult it is trying to stay on the brakes and not slide. That looks like Lydia Champagne's gone off track. Yeah, Lydia's standing aside and letting Rico through. You can see the blue flags waving. Into Pirelli he comes, tries to get a nice tight line in there. Sometimes you try and aim for that curve, but it don't always work out. Go too wide here, you get a penalty, so it's really difficult, and trying to get a good exit out of here. And this bit here, it's got like either a puddle or a dip or something like that, and I'll tell you, you hit the gas there and it sends you into an absolute frenzy. You've got to really watch it there. I've seen Carlos slide out of there a little bit, and David Punterino, to be fair, Dave, you are right, it is pretty treacherous. Banging into that sausage on the right-hander there. Or we could call it a bap, probably, Dave. It's not really a sausage. So instead of banging sausages now, we're banging baps, are we? I'm your commentator, Dave. I'm just saying what I see. Simon Bouquet running in 6th place. This will be a great result for Simon. Bring it home, Simon. Saturna will be holding on to her brolly and waving her husband past. I hear the girls aren't here this weekend, Dave. No, Edina and Philippa are away on holiday. Actually, they're with grandparents while Saturna and Simon come out here. I expect there will have been and will be some weird noises coming from that camper van over the weekend, Dave. They don't half make a row, don't they? Blimey, I'll tell you, you can hear like the crack of the whip and then the like that going on. It's, like I said before, thrash. That definitely is Simon and Saturday Bouquet, that's for sure. Don't tell anyone, folks. Alexander's running in 7th place. This will be a fairly good haul of points for Alex. Probably looking at the sky and thinking, for God's sake, let's have some sunshine. I just hope it's going to be, sunny at the Nürburgring, because I know Alex loves that track. And I reckon he'll be really good there. And I know Archie Angelo also loves Nürburgring GP. So you watch this space. These pair are going to make, the latter half of the season, these pair are going to really come good, I reckon. I suppose you get the worst out of the way and then really push for a good result. I'd love to see Archie and Alex get, some wins and some podiums, definitely. Rico is definitely catching Damon Puntorino now. There's no doubt about that. Up into Remus. Damon sliding around a little bit there on exit. Rico's right on the back of him, but Damon gets a good ride out of here. So did Rico, Dave. He's sliding a bit, but he's definitely made up ground there. Banging down towards the Roch corner. Really tricky. Can he get on the back of David Puntorino? He's almost there now. Almost touching fairings. David sliding a little bit. I see what you mean around here, Dave. You can see the car twitching. David Puntorino almost loses it coming out of Roch into Pirelli. Down the hill towards Swerve. Can Damon hold Rico off through here? Damon takes a tight line, but he looks like he slid a little bit there, Dave. Going out the exit, he's caught that tricky bit you were talking about just now. Damon Puntorino goes off track, putting Rico Mortis into second place. That may have just given Rico the little edge he needed there. Damon's obviously struggling with tyres or whatever it is, but Rico he's got some good gap between them now. If Rico brings us home in second place, that will be absolutely brilliant stuff for Rico. If Brian manages to stay in fourth and David in third, of course, Carlos has really got a comfortable gap now. He's just got to bring this home. I'd say he's thinking to himself, right, this is it, steady, all the way. I've got a bit of a gap. Let's not bin this. We have, 4.5 laps to go.
Ladies and gentlemen, please allow access for the fire brigade, who have been called to assist the bozo hanging from the horns of the bull by his underpants. You were warned about climbing on the bull and attending its rodeo, and you've got your just desserts. Thank you.
Blimey, Dave, he tells it how it is, doesn't he? He doesn't hold back any punches. I'll give him that. He does tell it how it is. You don't mix his words, that's for sure. Lydia Champagne flattening the gravel out for them at the bottom of the Roch corner. Doing a great job there. She really has levelled it off nicely, Dave. You're going to get a slap if you keep talking like that. I'm going to tell her what you said then. By the time she watches this video, Dave, I shall be in Germany in my hotel room waiting for the next round. She won't be far behind you, don't you worry about it. She'll come banging on your hotel door. I'm sure she will, Dave. I'm sure she will. She knows I'm only pulling her leg. Simon Bouquet, Lydia Champagne and Alexander bringing up the rear on a very, very wet, tricky Red Bull race in Austria. It really is cold and wet here today. You can see the grip on those tyres. We're so used to seeing slicks. And Halo Van Eddy doing a fantastic job holding that fifth place, and he's still got a nice, comfortable gap to Simon Bouquet. Looks like Aylan's running a nice, comfortable pace, managing to, work this track to his advantage and, doing quite well here. Good to see. It is good to see, Dave. You're dead right there. Aylan's doing a good job. I know he was in pit lane the other day trying to get his crew to get a counter on his dashboard, would tell him how many tear-offs he has left. You know, I did hear that, and I think that is a great idea, because, it's like having bullets in a gun, you fire a few rounds off and you're not sure how many's in there. It does make perfect sense, Dave, because sometimes you pit because your tyres are gone, and it looked like Lydia Champagne had got off track again back there. I'm not sure. But as I was saying, yes, after a few fire-offs, you sort of forget how many you've got left. Sometimes you have to pit just to put a new cassette of tear-offs back in.
when you're practicing, what you do is you know where the scary parts are, and you try and obviously tame it so that you're not having so many scary, events. And then you you plan your pit stops around that sort of, information. So you're not just gauging fuel and tyres, Dave, you're also gauging, tear-off underpads. And I'm guessing, it won't be long before another thing's thrown into the works with the anti-bogey system, and you'll have to gauge for that as well. You're dead right, you will. That's 4 things you're going to have to think about as you're heading into a championship, and you've got to practice all of them, You can, like with the anti-bogey, if you sort of, overtake someone and give like a victorious snort and as snot flies out, you're going to need to allow for that. Well, you're basically going to have to guess, based on your pace, how many sort of people you may well overtake. And then, and have a few in spare just in case there's any other mishaps. You will definitely a lot to think about. Rico Mortis, however, is just thinking about bringing this home in second place. Carlos Punterino's, in fact, Rico is actually closing on Carlos Punterino, but I don't think there's enough time for him to catch Carlos now, Dave. I don't think there is. He has definitely gained ground on Carlos, and he's dropped Damon Punterino quite a bit now. Whether Damon's had a technical issue with fuel or whatever, I don't know. But Rico's catching Carlos, but I don't think he's going to get him now because what's it now? 1.5 laps to go. If Carlos, doesn't have a mishap, he's got this in the bag. Carlos could very well win in Austria, folks. This is a very tense moment indeed. We'd love to see Carlos take a win of his first win of the season, and this will definitely boost his points and boost him up the table, I would think. I'm not sure mathematically, Dave, but I would imagine that Carlos would probably, if the positions stay as they are, would definitely be in front of Brian Messiah. Would that be right? I'm not that great on maths either, but I'm pretty sure that Carlos may well take second place in the championship. And Rico's got a fairly comfortable lead at the moment, as long as he brings it home and stays where he is. As we start the final lap of the race, folks, Damon Punterino looks like he's about to have Brian Messiah for company in the final lap. Can Brian get that podium? Can Damon Punterino hold on? They both used all up their boost up and definitely have nothing left to spare other than skill. Damon shooting into the Castrol Edge corner with Brian Messiah in hot pursuit, who's right on him now. Hammering up the hill towards Remus. Absolutely breathtaking. Damon got a good drive out of there, though. Damon got a great drive out of there. Definitely, he's just got to keep his head now. Brian will be trying to pressure him into a slip-up, no doubt. But Brian looks like he went a bit wide there, Dave. That'll give Damon Punterino a little bit of breathing space now. Yep, definitely. Brian missed his braking marker then, and that sent him wide. It's very easy done now, although it's uphill. You still got to gauge your braking. Damon's got a fair gap on him now. I can't see Brian bringing this, reining that in. Damon Punterino could get his, I think it's his second podium of the season. Done a great job here. Didn't quite get the win, but a podium will do. Carlos Punterino comes out of the red corner and into the Red Bull Mobile for the final time, taking his first win of the season. Brilliant job, Mr. Punterino. Well done. Closely followed by Rico. Rico's only 4 seconds behind. That's a great job, Rico. Great stuff. Damon Punterino fires himself out of Brent and down towards the Red Bull, losing a little bit of grip on the exit. But Damon Punterino brings up a very well-deserved third place. Awesome stuff by Carlos's cousin, Damon. And Brian Messiah brings home a fourth. No shame in that, Brian. Very good result. Halen Vanetti coming down the hill towards Rent. If Halen doesn't crash in these next 2 corners, Dave, that's a good, solid 5th place. That's a very well-done job for Halen Vanetti. He definitely will be a star up for grabs for that, I can assure you. He will be jumping up and down with excitement.
Well done, Halen Van Eddy and Simon Bouquet, bringing it home in a 6th place. That's a great result for Simon Bouquet. Well done, Simon. Definitely refreshing tonight, I would think. And Alexander's crossing the line in 7th with Lydia Champagne, who was a lap down, I think, finishing in 8th place. So let's take a close look again at the race results. In 1st place, Carlos Punterino, followed by Rico Mortis and David Punterino in 3rd, with Brian Messiah in 4th place. Halen Van Eddy in 5th, and Simon Bouquet with 6th. 7th for Alex Anders and 8th for Lydia Champagne. Congratulations once again to Carlos Punterino for the top step of the podium and a great win, and Rico Mortis in 2nd, and David Punterino finishing the podium in 3rd. Well done. So let's take a look at the championship results so far. At the top of the table is Rico Mortis on 116 points, with Carlos Punterino now up to 2nd place with 19 points. Brian Messiah back to 3rd with 82 points, and David Punterino in 4th with 77 points. Followed by Halen Van Eddy and Artie Panati, both on 52 points in 5th and 6th. Alex Anders on 45 points, Archie Angelo on 36, with Simon Bouquet on 33 points, and Lydia Champagne on 19, and Greg Rocket, who is now retired. So let's take a look at the team table. With 148 points, it's Team Kawasaki in 1st place, with Team Anus Sunoco on 133 points, with Team Tiger on 92, Team Alien on 87, and a British racing team on 80 points, with Red Bull Affinity Racing on 52 points. That's it, folks. In a fortnight's time, we broadcast from Germany in the almost legendary Nürburgring GP for round 6. But for now, from me, Dave, and the team, thanks for watching, take care, and goodbye.
Let's go!